Welcome back to Divinity 648. My name is Christina. I'm a high vibrational energy intuitive, and this is a bedroom conversation between anyone who has Taurus and Leo in their birth chart. Doesn't matter the placement, just as long as you have the two signs in your birth chart, okay? Um, Someone's been really focusing on their money. They've been really focused on being financially stabilized, whereas the other is really focused on getting in tune with their emotional side, right? So I feel like tables have turned, whereas person A is now focused on money. They're focused on stability. They're focused on being an adult. They're focused on um, independence. And whereas before they were focused on love, they were focused on emotions, they were focused on commitment and stability in the emotional side of things. Now they're the one who used to be focused on money, all about money, making that money. They're now more focused on emotions, love, demonstrating those emotions and love. But neither one of them, again, is communicating correctly. There's something wrong with the communication. Um, one individual one individual is really spiritually abundant, really spiritually abundant, or has really come out in a way that is spiritual, right? So let's say if person A was primarily focused on love, commitment, and now they're focused on their own independence, their own financial stability. Maybe they opened up their own business. They studied something. They learned something. They mastered something. Um, and they're not trying to be secretive about it anymore, right? Whereas before they would try to probably to communicate what they were into, what their motives were, who they really were, and person B was just like, I'm not into that shit. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, kind of deal. Because they were focused on their own thing, right? They were in their own flow, and it just didn't stay in alignment with who they were and what they were dealing with. So I almost feel like person A really came up out of the contemplation or the shadow side, right? Like what was in the dark is now out in public in front of the world. And somehow, some way, they're financially successful or about to be financially successful based on things that were once kept um, quiet or not so publicized or something. The person who's really focused on tapping into their emotional state and demonstrating that they could be emotionally vulnerable or vulnerable emotionally. It's coming both ways to me. Maybe it's both of you that need to be working on this. They're no longer struggling with where their heart is and how they want to go about things. They're no longer defensive about showing the world who they want to be with, right? So that person working on love may have been this energy of, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to show it, and now all they think about is it. And again, both of you guys really need to work on that communication. There's some judgment. There's some judgment in play because at one point there was too many people involved in the dynamic at one point. It's like everybody has these third party situations. It's like so common nowadays. It's like, does anybody just want to fucking be faithful to one person anymore? I'm sorry, rant. It's over. So judgment's here because one of you, and I'm not getting a definitive answer as to who, so you both could have played this role at one point, entertained other people or other options. Um, Yeah, you entertained other options. You made your person question their role within your life, and you allowed them to be vulnerable. You allowed them to um yeah, shit. So I can't tell you if this is person A or person B because your energy is so close to each other that it's really difficult for me to know which one's which right now. But and again, you both could have played this role at one point or another in your dynamic, and you guys are going. This could be a real um counterpart dynamic here where one person was emotionally vulnerable while the other wasn't, and now the tables have turned. I don't see one person being as intimate or as attentive in the intimacy level of things with their person anymore, because it's kind of gone. It's kind of just gone. um it's kind of just gone because they're like, you were entertaining all these other individuals, and while you were doing that, I was going through what I needed to go through, and now that I've healed, I'm ready to move the fuck on. I don't want to have this dynamic anymore. I don't want to worry if my person's entertaining somebody else. I don't want to worry if my person is um seeing anyone else. Period, end of story. Rumor mill is done too. It's almost like I'm tired of hearing about things through other individuals. I'm tired of people walking up to me telling me things that aren't even fucking true. Some of you, your person treated you the way that they did because people around you were giving them lies. Giving them lies. Can you clarify? So, like, if you left the house looking like a fucking 10, on point, smelling good, makeup done, hair done, or maybe, clean cut, freshly shaved, cologne on, and you went to go do something, either the other person had people watching you intentionally, or they took it upon themselves to be like, hey, so and so is looking like they're about to go on a date. You might want to go check, XYZ out. Um, some of them even volunteered to follow you for them, only for you to be innocent and going to do, like, maybe you went to work, or maybe you met up with an actual friend, and you guys were just having a day, or um maybe you had an appointment with like a lawyer or a doctor or a job interview. Meanwhile, this one's feeding all kinds of soup to your masculine. They're doing this, they're doing that, this is going on, blah blah blah. And now your masculine, it's a masculine. Okay. And it could be feminine too, right? Because the female in this dynamic could have masculine qualities, okay? But the other person goes and kind of now has to deal with the consequences for listening or even entertaining the idea of their person being anything but what they knew them to be. Shame on you. Shame on you. So, where's this going to go between the two of you? Nowhere. I see a masculine energy. Again, it's the masculine energy coming in and approaching the feminine, and the feminine's in their feels kind of like in shock, like, wait a minute, what? You want to come be with me? Are you sure? Because last week you was over there, and last time I checked you was married, and last time I checked your motherfucking ass had a kid. Like, are you sure you're trying to be over here? Like, are you fucking, did you bang your head? Like, is this really what you want? Are you adamant? Because the feminine is kind of like, I'm focused on healing. I'm focused on growing. I'm focused on ascending. I'm focused on everything I need to be focused on. They're focused on spirituality. They're focused on being in alignment with their path. They're trusting that guidance, their intuition. And then here comes the masculine, who has, excuse me, I'm being corrected. The masculine has worked on their throat chakra. The masculine has gotten their shit together and is coming forward with union or some level of communication that is intended to start a deeper level of commitment with the other person, because they don't want to be left out. They don't want to have intimacy external to their household, right? They don't want to just have a girlfriend. They're ready for more. And they want to put all the fuckery to bed. They want to not be in a combative or defensive mode. They want real level of commitment, and they realize that they're not going to get that the way that they've already had that with you anywhere else. It's kind of like the, oh, you thought the grass was greener everywhere else, and then you realize that it's only greener because it was one, painted green, or two, loaded with fucking manure. So either you're getting dirty and you're rolling around in paint and now you're covered in it, or you're nonstop smelling shit and you can't tolerate it. So it's like, whereas over here the grass was actually green, luscious, and full without flaw, and it wasn't enough for you, and now it is enough for you, kind of energy. I don't see the feminine giving the masculine a hard time. Not at all. I see the feminine in this dynamic stepping right up to the plate and wanting that level of commitment and wanting that union. Um, but the masculine is the one that's pursuing it. It's like, damn, you masculines, get your shit together. And it's like, finally you're getting your shit together, and it's like, well, are you too late? The other day I was doing one of these readings, and my family member jumped through and was like, sink or swim, nigga. Like, you've played the game way too long. Now you've got to either really, you're on your own, like you really need to boss up here, kind of flow. Show what you're made out of. It's not going to just be like, we'll have amazing, incredible sex and forget everything. Now it's the, I need to approach the person that I hurt and let them know what I did wrong, even if it means I can lose everything, and actually just own my role in this. So good luck to you with that. And remember, these are general. This is overall energy influences by these two signs, and I'm doing it in groups of two to narrow the energy down. Okay. So you definitely want to check out the other readings, and if you need better clarity or better understanding, divinity648.com. Book now. The calendar is public, so you can schedule. If there is a conflict with the appointment, I will reach out to you and let you know my next available. Just because there's a slot doesn't guarantee that that slot is what's open. I keep it open because some people just, life happens, no shows. At least there's another person booked, right? And not to mention, my competitors love booking appointments and not showing up to them. So I definitely like to keep the calendar open for multiple slots and appointments, just in case. So book the appointment. Know that if there's a conflict, I will reach out to you right away. Um, and that's it. That's it. So Taurus and Leo, communicate. It's time to communicate now. And it's definitely the masculine energy approaching the feminine who's already in a vulnerable state and expressing themselves to that person. And that, don't be surprised if your feminine is like in shock, like, wait, what? Because they're not expecting this from you. They're so used to you being in the same flow of the way that you've been, that this is the least on their mind right now. They're focused on their money. So have a nice evening.